Another great story in the Reading Corner with Mrs. G. Subscribe here. This is another tale of virtue about generosity. This is called The Gift. Percy and Amelia were twin bear cubs. That meant the brother and sister shared the same birthday. They did not mind sharing. In fact, they really liked it. The twins found that when they shared something, they had twice as much fun. They shared almost everything, even their playtime. They loved playing outdoors. When the weather was nice, they would dash outside as soon as they could. Percy loved to fly the kite his father helped him make. He had even tied the kite's tail himself. Amelia loved looking through her binoculars. They had been a gift from her Aunt Ruth. The binoculars hung around Amelia's neck wherever she went. When she was outside, she was always searching the trees through her trusty binoculars. Percy's eyes were always on his kite as it danced in the sky. One day, Percy stood at the edge of the forest holding the kite string in his hands. He watched as the kite flew in the sky. He had been practicing some new tricks with the kite. When he pulled back on the string, the kite would jump through the air as if it were dancing. The kite's streaming tail twisted back and forth in the warm breeze. Percy knew to keep his toy away from the trees. In the past, he had climbed more than a few trees to rescue the kite from branches. The kite's tail was now torn and a bit muddy. Sometimes the knots came loose. In fact, if you looked closely, you could tell that the tail was not as long as it used to be. Once, it had gotten stuck in a bush. When that happened, Percy had to cut off part of the tail. He did his very best to patch it up. It was the only kite tail he had. Only his care kept the old kite flying. Amelia sometimes pretended that she was a famous nature explorer. She used her binoculars to spot the birds hiding among the leaves. One day, she saw 3 beautiful birds in one tree. She pretended they were rare African eagles. For the entire afternoon, she followed them everywhere they went. After several hours, it seemed as though they had led her through most of the forest. Finally, Amelia had to go home. Because she looked through her binoculars so much, Amelia saw a lot of things that others probably missed. That was one reason they were so special to her. Every night, before she went to bed, Amelia faithfully cleaned off her binoculars and polished the glass lenses very carefully. Then she slipped the special binoculars underneath her pillow. It was the only safe place she could think of to keep them. The day before their birthday, Amelia sat alone in the room she shared with Percy. Their birthday party was planned for the next day. When she had been at the store a few weeks ago, she had found the perfect gift. There was a brand new kite tail hanging on the wall of the store. It was the most beautiful kite tail Amelia had ever seen. It was much longer than Percy's homemade tail had ever been. She thought it would keep Percy's kite flying high for many years. Amelia started saving her money the first day she saw the kite tail in the shop. Now she hoped she had enough in her savings to buy it. Amelia slowly emptied out her bank and counted the coins. She did not have enough money to buy the gift. Amelia stretched out on her bed and thought. Suddenly, she had an idea. Amelia quickly jumped off her bed and asked her mother for permission to go shopping. Then she raced to the shop as fast as she could. Amelia went to the checkout counter. "Would you buy these binoculars?" Amelia asked the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper rubbed his beard and said, "I think we can make a deal." Right away, Amelia used the money to buy Percy's gift. As she walked home, Amelia missed her binoculars, but her brother was worth it. Later that day, Percy walked into the same shop. A few weeks ago, something very special had been delivered to the shop. It was a carrying case for binoculars. Now, Amelia will have a safe place to store her binoculars, Percy thought. There was one problem, though. Percy didn't have any money for the gift. but he did have a plan. He walked up to the shopkeeper. "I want to sell my kite," announced Percy. "Well, I see it's in need of a new tail, but I think I can take care of that," said the shopkeeper. They made a deal, and Percy left with the gift tucked under his arm. Percy would miss the kite, but his sister was worth it. Finally, it was the day of the party. Amelia could not wait for Percy to open his gift. When Amelia saw Percy, she shouted, "Happy birthday, Percy!" "Happy birthday, Amelia!" Percy shouted back. Their parents lit the candles and everyone sang the birthday song. The twins closed their eyes and made their wishes. Then they blew out the candles and ate a piece of cake. Finally, it was time to open the presents. Ripping open the wrapping paper, the bear cubs were very surprised at what was inside. Percy said, "Get your binoculars and try out the case." Then Amelia said, "Don't you love your new kite tail? I just had to buy it for you. Go get your kite." Percy sighed out loud. Then he said, "Amelia, I'm so sorry. I sold the kite to buy your gift." Now Amelia's mouth dropped open. "I'm sorry too. I sold my binoculars to buy your gift." The twins laughed and laughed at what had happened. When they could finally stop laughing, they said to each other, "I just wanted you to be happy." Then they hugged one another and laughed again. "I think trying to make someone happy is the best gift of all," said their mother. "Don't forget, you still have other gifts to open." "I have an idea," said Amelia. "Let's finish our party outside. We'll take our presents and cake to the forest for a picnic." The twins packed the picnic basket and went to find the perfect spot for their picnic. Their family joined them and everyone played games. After a fun-filled day, they went home. The twins gave everyone a kiss and a hug as they settled into their bear cub beds that night. Amelia and Percy agreed that this was the very best birthday ever. Generosity. Generosity is about giving to others without thinking of yourself. Amelia and Percy were very generous. Their love for each other made it easy to part with something that meant a lot to them. In this story, Percy and Amelia remind us that being generous to others is rewarding. Can you think of a time when someone was generous to you? Can you think of ways to show generosity? Be generous.